Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha
Hare Krishna, and welcome to all the devotees online. Thank you very much for your keen interest, attachment to hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and associating with Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we're covering Canto 3, Chapter 5, verses 10 to 21. We still, chapter is entitled Vidura's Talk with Maitreya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahavana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Vada Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhevacha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Pastyatya Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Sarva Shastra Piyusha Sarva Vedeke Satphala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnadya Sarva Lokai Prit Prada Sarva Bhagavata Prana Shrimad Bhagavata Prabhu Kalidwando Didaditya Shri Krishna Parivartita O Shrimad Bhagavatam, O nectar churned from the ocean of all Vedic scriptures, O most prominent transcendental fruit of all Vedas, O you enriched with the jewels of all spiritual philosophical conclusions, O you grant spiritual vision to all people of the world, O light breath of the Vaishnava devotees, O Lord, you are the sun which has arisen to dispel the darkness of Kali Yuga. You are actually Lord Krishna, who has returned amongst us. Paramananda Pataya Premavarshasharayate Sarvada Sarva Sevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namastute. O Srimad Bhagavatam, offer respectful obeisance unto you. By reading one attains transcendental bliss. For your syllabus rain pure love good upon the reader. You always to be so by everyone, for your incarnation of Lord Krishna. Madekabando Matsange Madguru Mahadana Manishtaraka Madbhagya Madanandana Mastute Shrimad Bhagavatam. My only friend, or my companion, my teacher, my great wealth, my deliverer, my good fortune, and my bliss, offer respectful obeisance unto you. Sadhu sadhu tadainatini chachataraka hanamun chakata chinmam premna ritkatyospura. O Shrimad Bhagavatam, O giver of saintliness to the unsaintly, O literally very fallen. Please do not ever leave me. Please become manifest Mahatma through the company pure love of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Janmadhyasya Yutanvayaritaratascharte Swabhigna Swarat. Tene Brahma Hidayari Kavaye Muyanti Yat Suraya. Tejo Vari Mridam Yata Vinimayo Yatrati Sargom Risham. Damna Swena Sada Nirastakokam Satyam Param Dhimaihi. O my Lord Shri Krishna, Son of Vasudeva, O pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisance unto you. I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because the absolute truth and the primal cause of all causes of creation, sustenance, destruction, and manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed in illusion, as one is bewildered by illusory representation of water seen in fire, land seen on water. Only because of him did the material universe is temporarily manifested by the reaction of three modes of nature appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from illusory representation of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Prayanalpaisha sabya kalavasmin yuge jana manda sumanda mutayo manda bhagya upadratam. O learned one, in this age of Kali, many but short lives, the quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above always disturbed. Narayan Namaskritya Narachevam Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Nara Rishi, the supermost human being, and the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Savai Pumsa Parodharma Yato Bhaktira Dakshache Hoitukiya Pratiyati Yata Yatma Suprasiddhati. Supreme occupation, Dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayatyu Savairagyam Jnanam Chayad Hayutukam By rendering devotional service under the personality of God as Shri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. Vedanti tat pravidas tattvam yach gnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sabhyate. Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman Paramatma Bhagavan. Shrushushoshadhanasya Vasudeva Kata Ruchis Mahatse Vaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nishevanat. O twice born sages, by serving those devotees completely freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. Shranvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Ryadantastoya Badrani Vidunoti Suritsatam. Shri Krishna, the person of Godhead, who is Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtues, when properly heard and chanted. Nasta Prashu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatu Tamasloker Bhaktir Bhavati Nishtaki. By regular attendance in a class on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, establishes an irrevocable fact. Etavan Sankhya Yoga Vyam Swadharmam Parinishtaya Janmalabha Parampam Samante Narayana Smriti. The highest perfection of human life achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, by practice mystic power, by perfect discharge of occupational duties to remember the personality of Godhead at the end of life. Vakama Sarvakama Vamoksha Kamu Udadirivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajate Purusham Param. A person who has broad intelligence, where they be full of all material desires, without any material desires or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the supreme whole, the personality of God. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are continuing Srimad Bhagavatam based on the teachings of the Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Hare Krishna and welcome again. Are there any feedback or questions from last session? I'm just going to give you a minute to see if there's any feedback from our last session that we had. If not, we can continue. We are now discussing or hearing about the conversation between Vidura and Maitra Muni. Vidura is eager to know, to learn. He's a pure devotee, and therefore he knows Krishna. But he's eager to hear more and more and more about Krishna. Just like Maharaj Parikshit, he's eager to hear more and more and more about Krishna. Vidura is eager to hear more and more and more about Krishna. This is the nature of those who are completely pure, purified and above the modes of material nature. All right, let us continue. So we're going to be continuing from 10 to 21. Vidura's exclusive interest in Krishna Katha, and Maitra Rishi honored Vidura and expressed gratitude. Text 10. Paravaresham Bhagavan Ranatani Shrutani me Vyasa Mukunda Bhikshanam Atrip Nunma Shula Shukha Vahanam Tesham Kriti Krishna Katham Vitogat. O my Lord, I have repeatedly heard about these higher and lower statuses of human society from the mouth of Vyasadeva, and I've heard enough all of these lesser subject matters and their happiness. They have not satisfied me with the nectar of topics about Krishna. So from last week's conversation, we were hearing the breakdown of different categories of living entities. And now Vidura is responding to say, that's nice, but not satisfying. And we know that this experience was also, or this realization was also experienced by who? Who else had this same experience that Vidura is sharing? Where then, yes, Srila Vyasadeva, not only did he just hear about a certain subject, after compiling all the Vedic knowledge, he was not satisfied. And Narad Muni approached him and said, the reason you're not satisfied is because you have not spoken sufficiently about Krishna. So this is a very, very important lesson for everyone. If you are not going to hear sufficiently about Krishna, you will not be able to fill the vacuum of dissatisfaction in your heart. You cannot replace it with anything. Srila Vyasadeva gave karma, gyan, yoga, tapa, dana, all forms of practices. And yet, even after all those forms of practices, not satisfied. So we have to realize this point and do something about it. And Srila Prabhupada is going to share what we need to do. Because people are very much interested in hearing social and historical presentations, Srila Vyasadeva has compiled many books such as the Puranas and Mahabharata. These books are reading matter for the mass of people, and they were compiled with a view to reviving their God consciousness, now forgotten in the conditioned life of material existence. So the first point is that why are the Vedas there? Why is that vast source of knowledge available for humanity? Simply to revive God consciousness, nothing else. There is no other objective. The real purpose of such literature is not so much to present topics of historical references, but to revive the people's sense of God consciousness. So we may have, like others, have the opportunity to be exposed to the Vedas. And you will find so many people get caught up because this creation has mysticism. This creation has so much hidden aspects, mystical aspects, things that don't reconcile, things that are far out, things are just, out of this world, so to speak. And naturally, human curiosity kicks in. We want to know, we want to research, we want to try to be masters of matter. And the more you try to be masters of matter, the more you realize the vastness of matter. The atheistic scientists won't admit that, but the reality they cannot avoid. Now, you don't want to get caught up in that rabbit hole. Researching. Oh, we found this. Oh, we realized this. Oh, we did, yes, that can go on eternally. Just like now there's a new comet in the sky. And everybody's like, it's researching, giving their opinions. Or is there life after, is there life outside this, Earth planet, etc. For those who are following the Vedas, it's no surprise. If the demigods had to appear in front of us, it's not like we're going to fall off the chair. Oh, look, aliens. No, these are demigods. They appeared in previous ages. If they want to come, they can come. When Prabhupada was, preaching, very often demigods would come. They would sit for the Krishna Katha. Narada Muni would come. The demigods would come. So it wasn't like surprise. Prabhupada didn't, like, oh, where did these people? Who these people? No, he knows. So why is the subject given? Why is so much knowledge given? It's given to revive people's God consciousness. This is the bottom line. This is the most important point. Therefore, if we are going to delve into the Vedas, if we're going to give people knowledge, it is simply for this point. How can we help them revive their sense of God consciousness? Why? Because if you can do that, then all your problems are solved. Then all their problems are solved. The root of all problems, please share in the chat. What is the root of all problems, including your headache, backache, sugar problems, family problems, financial problems, economic problems, social problems? What is the root of all problems? Ivan says, maybe we do not know how to link what we do to Krishna rather than saying, saying out involved in the material world. Maybe we do not know how to link what we do with Krishna. So, Ivan, maybe you need to just explain your question again so I can at least understand. Right, so the root cause of all problems is forgetfulness of Krishna. Yes, this is the root of all problems. And therefore, the Vedas, Srila Prabhupada's books, everything we do is for this and this purpose only. How to remember Krishna. Right, so how to link everything to Krishna rather than getting involved in the material world. So we're already in the material world, therefore we're involved. Now, the only reason, okay, so there can be two reasons why you're in the material world. No other reason, two reasons. Either you're conditioned soul, forgetfulness of Krishna, or you are a realized soul who never forgets Krishna and sent on a mission to help those who are forgetful of Krishna to revive their God consciousness. That's it. There is no in between. Now, if you are self-realized, then you will live in this world, but not of this world, and simply be able to help others remind themselves or help them remember Krishna. So your life is not entangled. If you're a conditioned soul, you now need to see how to bring Krishna into your life more and more. Just like Ram Kinkar and family, they regularly, practically every week, go out, they cook prasad, big nice feast, not just khichdi or biryani, a full feast, two, three sabjis, so many preparations. They go out and giving people that connection. Books are there, holy name is there. So in the form of prasad, they're giving that connection. That prasad is going to remind people of something. The holy name is going to remind them of something. The books are going to remind them of something. The devotees are going to remind them of something. So somehow or other, we should be expert to revive people's connection with Krishna. It's not an overnight business, but it's a gradual business. Prabhupada said gallons of blood. So you may have to do it little at a time. That takes patience. That takes dedication. That includes for us, by the way. It's not an overnight. Oh yeah, I read Bhagavad Gita. So I'm done with it. No. Or I read the Bhagavatam. I'm done with it. No. Until we haven't fully realized Krishna, we have to continue. So therefore, these topics are presented by Srila Vyasadeva, by Srila Prabhupada. The real purpose of such literature is not so much to present topics of historical references, but to revive people's sense of God consciousness. So yes, historical references is there, but don't get caught up. Oh yeah, what's the dates? Oh no, I think they're missing the dates, not exact. Did it happen like this or did it happen like this? It doesn't matter. Those are secondary issues. Sometimes we get caught up in the colors. Oh, is Vara red or is Vara white? And why so many differences? Can it not just be with one color? It's confusing us. Don't worry. The goal is here the glories of Varadev, full stop. That's the medication. For example, Prabhupada continues, Mahabharata is the history of the battle of Kurukshetra, and common people read it because it is full of topics regarding social, political, economic problems of human society. But factually, the most important part of Mahabharata is Bhagavad Gita, which is automatically taught to readers along with the historical narration of the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Vidura explained to Maitreya his position of being fully satiated with the knowledge of mundane social and political topics and having no more interest in them. He was anxious to hear transcendental topics regarding Lord Shri Krishna. So, how much is our appetite for hearing about mundane topics versus topics regarding Lord Shri Krishna? This is why Lord Krishna creates the Kartik sale, because we're interested in mundane topics. So for 30 days, you have to keep hearing again and again about his baby pastimes. You have to keep hearing about Madheshwara binding Krishna. This purifies. This helps. Change our interest. Because there are insufficient topics directly concerning Krishna in the Puranas, Mahabharata, etc., he was not satisfied and wanted to know more about Krishna. Krishna Katha topics regarding Krishna are transcendental, and there is no satiation in hearing such topics. Bhagavad Gita is important on account of its being Krishna Katha, or speeches delivered by Lord Krishna. The stories of the battlefield of Kurukshetra may be interesting for the mass of people, but a person like Vidura, who is highly advanced in devotional service, only Krishna Katha, and that which is dovetailed with Krishna Katha is interesting. I haven't said, how is anxiety to hear Krishna manifest itself? The nature of Krishna Katha is that it purifies. And Prabhupada is going to, through this purpose, Prabhupada is going to make that point and more clear. It is not that you have to do anything different. Prabhupada gives the example. If you want to increase your attachment to liquor, What do? 2 things specifically, but you could share one specific activity. If you want to increase your attachment to liquor, what do you think we should be doing? Right, so that's one thing. Be with drunkards, right? Definitely. But what's going to happen in their association? Very simple. Drink more liquor. That's all. So if you want to increase your attachment to liquor, drink more liquor. If you want to increase your attachment to any activity in material world, just increase that. And if you want to increase your attachment to Krishna Katha, very simple. Associate with those who are attached to hearing and chanting, because in their association, what you're going to do? Hear and chant. This cannot be overstressed. Service is wonderful. Service is glorious. But service, practical service, is not sufficient. You must underline, bold, italics, 24 font. You must, or 108 font size. You must hear Krishna Katha. Prabhupada continues. Vidura wanted to hear, right? Because there were insufficient topics. Okay, let me just, the story of the battlefield of Kurukshetra may be interesting for the mass of people, but to a person like Vidura who is highly advanced in devotional service, only Krishna Katha, that which is dovetailed with Krishna Katha, is interesting. Vidura wanted to hear everything from Maitreya, and so he inquired from him. But he desired that all the topics be in relation with Krishna. As fire is never satisfied in its consumption of firewood, so a pure devotee of the Lord never hears enough about Krishna. Historical events and narrations concerning social political incidents all become transcendental as soon as they are in relation with Krishna. That is the way to transform mundane things into spiritual identity. The whole world can be transformed into Vaikuntha if all worldly activities are dovetailed with Krishna. So you can see everything in this material world in relation to Krishna. That's called Krishna Katha. The other aspect is Prabhupada's give a nice example in terms of fire. And you can put as much firewood in fire, and the fire will just keep consuming. So the pure devotees of the Lord never hear enough about Krishna. Their desire to hear increases. And why? Because they're in love with Krishna. If you're in love with Krishna, just like we gave the example, those who are infatuated with Krishna, those who are infatuated with the opposite gender in material world, in the beginning, they just want to chat with each other. This is the nature of infatuation in the material world. So those who are in love with Krishna, they cannot hear enough about Krishna. It's a symptom of love. Therefore, pure devotees constantly want to hear about Krishna because they're in love with Krishna. There are 2 important Krishna Kathas currently in the world: Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita is Krishna Katha because it is spoken by Krishna, where Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna Katha because it narrates about Krishna. So Chaitanya advised all his disciples to preach Krishna Katha all over the world without discrimination, because the transcendental value of Krishna Katha can purify one and all from material contamination. This is why we preach. This is why we go out and connect people to Krishna. Because Everybody needs to be purified. Now, those who go out and render the service, they themselves are getting purified. And even if you are completely pure, then that activity gives you pleasure because it's in relation to Krishna. And those who are receiving this wonderful gift, and they have also benefited. Text 11. Kashtre pyuya tirtha pado bidanat shatre shuva suribir idyamanat yat karnanadim purushasya yatto bhava pradamge haratim chinati. Who in society, who in human society can be satisfied without hearing sufficient talks of the Lord, whose lotus feet are the sum total of all places of pilgrimage, and who is worshipped by great sages and devotees. Such topics can cut off one's bondage to family affections simply by entering the holes of one's ears. Report. Krishna Katha is so powerful that simply by entering into a person's ear, it can at once give deliverance from the bondage of family affection. Family affection is an illusory manifestation of the external energy, and it is the only impetus for all mundane activities. As long as there is mundane activity and the mind is absorbed in such engagement, one has to undergo the repetition of birth and death in the current material nations. People are most influenced by the mode of ignorance, and some are influenced by the mode of passion. Some are influenced by the passionate mode of material nature. And under the spell of these two modes, a living being is actuated by the material conception of life. The mundane qualities do not allow a living entity to understand his real position. The quality of both ignorance and passion strongly bind one to the illusory bodily conception of the self. The best among the fools who are thus deluded are those who engage in altruistic activities under the spell of material mode of passion. The best among the fools. That's writing. Yes. Who are thus deluded by those who are engaged in altruistic activities under the spell of the material mode of passion. Bhagavad Gita, which is the direct Krishna Katha, gives humanity the elementary lesson that the body is perishable and that the consciousness which is spread throughout the body is imperishable. The conscious being, the imperishable self, is eternally existent and cannot be killed under any circumstance, even after the dissolution of the body. Anyone who misunderstands this perishable body to be the self and who works for it in the name of sociology, politics, philanthropy, altruism, nationalism, or internationalism under the false plea of the bodily conception of life is certainly a fool and does not know the implication of reality and unreality. So you can see Prabhupada is not interested in sociology, politics, philanthropy, altruism, nationalism, internationalism, anything on the bodily concept of life. Why? Because it is temporary. It is not your real identity. So anything related to this bodily identity, anything that is related to the mental identity, anything that's related to the intellectual identity, like someone might think I'm a professor. So bodily identity, I'm born in so-and-so country. Mental identity, I'm very creative, I'm very intelligent, or I'm very thoughtful. Everything in relation to the mind. People who have enhanced their mental psychic side. I'm, a psychic. I can read people's minds. I'm a mental reader, mind reader. So mental identity. Then you get professors, intellectual people, scientists, intellectual identity. And then people's ego. I'm famous. I'm the best. Egoistic identity. Anything related to these four temporary identities is temporary, impermanent, unreal, short-lived, and it breeds more suffering. No matter in what form you package it, it is ultimately a waste of time. Some of them are above the mode of ignorance and passion and are situated in mode of goodness. But mundane goodness is always contaminated by tinges of ignorance and passion. Mundane goodness can enlighten one that the body and the self are different, and one in goodness is concerned with the self and not the body. But due to being contaminated, those in mundane goodness cannot understand the real nature of the self as the person. The impersonal conception of the self as distinct from the body keeps them in the mode of goodness within the material world. And unless they are attracted by Krishna Katha, they will never be liberated from the bondage of material existence. So the impersonalists, or those who know that, yes, we're different from the body, like you'll see. Nowadays, even a lot of more and more people are speaking about, you're not this body, you're a spiritual being. So many people in like the motivational circles, now they are speaking in this way. Oh, yes, you're not this body, you're a spiritual being. Okay, then what? Then what? You're a spiritual being. Okay, what now? That's it. Means nothing. In Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says, it's not enough to know you spirit. You should act on that level. Just knowing is not enough. Act like you're a spiritual being. So when you say, okay, I'm a spiritual being, very good. Now what? What you going to do about that? If I'm a spiritual being, I have a source which is spiritual. And who is that source? The supreme spiritual being. And what's your relationship? You need to serve that supreme being. Nobody goes in their territory. So that's our business, is to make people understand you're a spiritual being and you're meant to act as a spiritual being. And you can only connect that, you can only move forward into that territory when you start speaking about the supreme spiritual being. Now, most people have no clue, have no access to the knowledge. So they can't share anything that they don't have access to. We have no excuse because we have access. And because you have access to this knowledge, if you do not give this knowledge to others, that is like a doctor who has the cure for a plague that has hit his city, and he's sitting with the cure in his house and not distributing that. Now, whether people accept or not, we should not be disturbed. Why? It's not that they are intentionally not accepting. It's just the nature of where they are. Srila Prabhupada gives a nice example in relation to the three modes of nature. Here Prabhupada is also highlighting this point, that there are different modes. ignorance, passion, and goodness. So depending where the souls are, depending where they are, it's wet grass, moist grass, and dry grass. If I administer fire to wet grass, that wet grass extinguishes the fire. It seems like the fire did not do anything, but the fire did. The fire transformed the wet grass into moist grass. Then I administer more fire. And then the fire gets smoky and extinguished. It seems like the fire didn't do anything. No, the fire did. It transformed the moist grass into dry grass. And then I administer fire again. And now the dry grass catches fire. So we may give people Krishna in different forms, and it may seem like nothing seriously transformed them or happened. Nothing serious happened. No, it did. It'll always. We just need to keep giving, keep giving, keep giving, keep giving. So that's why cultivation is key. And slowly but surely that soul is moving from ignorance to passion to goodness, from wet grass to moist grass to dry grass. And for each soul, time is different because depending on the intensity of the fire that they receive, the fire of Krishna consciousness, the purity of that fire of Krishna consciousness, their association, their inclination, their habits, their past, all this plays a role. Our business is to just give. That's all. Some of them are above the mode of ignorance and passion, are situated in the mode of goodness, and the mundane goodness is always contaminated by a tinge of ignorance and passion. Mundane goodness can enlighten one that the body and the self are different, and one in goodness is concerned with the self and not the body. But due to being contaminated, those in mundane goodness cannot understand the real nature of the self as a person. The impersonal conception of the self as distinct from the body keeps them in the mode of goodness and within the material nature. And unless they are attracted by Krishna, they will never be liberated from the bondage of material existence. That's what we elaborated. Krishna Katha is the only remedy for all people of the world, because it can situate one in pure consciousness of the self and liberate one from material bondage. I will repeat. Krishna Katha is the only remedy. For who? For all the people of the world, because it can situate one in pure consciousness of the self and liberate one from material bondage. To preach Krishna Katha all over the world, as recommended by Lord Chaitanya, is the greatest missionary activity, and all sensible men and women of the world may join in this great movement started by Lord Chaitanya. So there is no other alternative. Very sorry. You know, if you go to a pharmacy, you will see there's so many varieties of medication for any single cure or any single illness. This is the problem. But to be free from material bondage is wonderful. There's only one cure. And if anything is not aligned to that one cure, you know that it's cheating. And that's why as devotees, we don't jump from one tree to another, from one type of activity to another, from one movement to another, from one scripture to another. because we know that it is only Krishna Katha that can purify. Some movements are focusing on silent meditation. So you focus on silent meditation. What are you doing? You're silencing your thoughts. I don't know about you, but if you try to silence your thoughts and you do not have a substitute to get your mind to think of something, guess what's going to happen? If there is no replacement, your mind is not going to stay silent. It's not designed to be silent. Your mind will start talking again. Just the nature of the mind. So that's why, yes, it's good you silencing your mind, because there's so much chatter, so much noise, so much rubbish going on. And if you're spending some time out of immediate contact of the environment, that's healthy for spiritual practice. But if you do not replace the mind or replace the focus of the mind to think of something spiritually positive, Krishna Katha, you are stuck. And therefore, Prabhupada was so expert that he gave us a form of meditation coming in the line of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada, didn't give us anything that's new. What he gave us was given to us by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada just expert in how he presented it, with his purity, with his expertise in giving us this perfect formula. So what we got is God's formula. It's Lord Chaitanya's formula. And therefore, it can never go wrong. What we have is not given to us by some mundane, advanced soul, some powerful person that has great brain power to give us something. No, it's given to us directly by Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. They're the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So how can that which God gave have any problems, any issues? So this faith we should have, and with this faith we should embrace the process for our own purification. Some devotees get so caught up in giving that they forget about practicing for themselves. So as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, practice, perfect your life, and make others' life perfect. Text 12. Munir vivaksur bhagavad gunanam shakha pite bharatam aha Krishna yasmin rinam gram yasukanu vardair matir girihita nuhare katayam. Your friend, the great sage Krishna Dwapanya Vyas, has already described the transcendental qualities of the Lord in his great work, the Mahabharata. But the whole idea is to draw the attention of the mass of people to Krishna Katha Bhagavad Gita through their strong affinity for hearing mundane topics. The great sage Krishna Dwaipayana Vyas is the author of all Vedic literature, of which his works, Vedanta Sutra, Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, are very popular readings. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.4.25, Srila Vyasadeva compiled the Mahabharata for the less intelligent class of men who take more interest in mundane topics than in the philosophy of life. Vedanta Sutra was compiled for persons already above the mundane topics, who might already have tasted the bitterness of the so-called happiness of mundane affairs. The first aphorism of Vedanta Sutra is Athato Brahma Jignasa, or that is, only when one has finished the business of mundane inquiries in the marketplace of sense gratification can one make relevant inquiries regarding Brahman, the transcendence. Those persons who are busy with the mundane inquiries which fill the newspapers and other literatures are classified as Sri Sudra Dvija Bandhus, or women, the labor class, and unworthy sons of the high class, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. Less intelligent Such less intelligent men cannot understand the purpose of Vedanta Sutra, although they may make a show of studying the sutras in a perverted way. The real purpose of the Vedanta Sutra is explained by the author himself in Srimad Bhagavatam, and anyone trying to understand Vedanta Sutra without reference to Srimad Bhagavatam is certainly misguided. Such misguided persons who are interested in the mundane affairs of philanthropic and altruistic work under the misconception of the body as a self could better take advantage of the Mahabharata, which was specifically compiled by Srila Vyasadeva for their benefit. The great author has compiled the Mahabharata in such a way that the less intelligent class of men who are more interested in mundane topics may read the Mahabharata with great relish, and in the cause of such mundane happiness can also take advantage of Bhagavad Gita, the preliminary study of the Srimad Bhagavatam or the Vedanta Sutra. Srila Vyasadeva had no interest in writing a history of mundane activities other than to give less intelligent persons a chance for transcendental realization through Bhagavad Gita. Vidura's reference to the Mahabharata indicates that he had heard of the Mahabharata from Vyasadeva, his real father, while he was away from home and was touring the places of pilgrimage. So, yes, Prabhupada, the Mahabharata has a very interesting place for mass, for the general populace, because of the topics that are there. But ultimately, the jewel, the most important part of the Mahabharata is the Bhagavad Gita. So it's about bringing people in, hooking them, and then giving them the right medication. If you were to just advertise Krishna Katha, please come and hear topics about Krishna, nobody's going to come. But if we are to advertise Sunday feast, 50 preparations, tease your tongue, delight your tongue, blow your taste buds, everybody will come. And then you arrange the program in a way that gives them Krishna Katha. 13. Sashradanasya vivardam manam viraktimanyatra karoti pumsam hare padanu shmriti nivrittasya samastya dukkapaya yam asudate. For one who is anxious to engage constantly in hearing such topics, Krishna Katha gradually increases his indifference towards all other things. Such constant remembrance of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna by the devotees who has achieved transcendental bliss vanquishes all his miseries without delay. Now we are hearing the glorious benefit of hearing Krishna Katha, being anxious to engage in hearing. We must certainly know that on the absolute plane, Krishna Katha and Krishna are one and the same. So that's the punchline. That's why Krishna Katha is important. Because for us to associate with Krishna, we need to be pure. And because we're not pure, we need to become purified. And the best purifying medium is that which is pure. So if Krishna is the most pure, then if I associate Krishna, I become pure. So how can I become pure to associate with Krishna without Krishna being here? Is through Krishna Katha. Because the medium of Krishna Katha we have, or the medium, how Krishna Katha is transmitted, and the instruments to hear Krishna Katha we have, the ears, sound. So because we are able to hear Krishna Katha, it's a perfect medium to associate with Krishna. Because Krishna and Krishna Katha are absolute. Which means if I'm hearing about Krishna, I am with Krishna. If I'm hearing about topics of Krishna, I'm with Krishna. If I'm remembering topics of Krishna, I'm with Krishna. If I'm preaching about Krishna, I'm with Krishna. And that means I don't need to go any place to be with Krishna. I just need to engage in these activities and I'm with Krishna. And if I'm with Krishna, then that is perfection. That is perfection. The Lord is the absolute truth, and therefore his name, form, qualities, etc., which are all understood to be Krishna Katha, are non-different from him. Hearing about his name, chanting his name, the glories of the name, chanting about the form of Krishna, chanting about the qualities of Krishna, the pastimes of Krishna, the entourage of Krishna, the devotees of Krishna. Anything related to Krishna is absolute. It is Krishna Katha. And it is non-different from him. Right now, we are directly associating and are in the direct presence of Krishna. Believe it or not. I may not realize it. That does not mean it is not the case. By constant engagement of Krishna Katha, I will get purified, and one day I will realize. So the fact that I have not realized that Krishna is directly present and I'm feeling him, I'm associating with him, does not negate the fact that I get purified. It does not negate the fact that it's spiritually beneficial. It does not negate the fact that I'm with Krishna. And if I die hearing about Krishna Katha, I'm with Krishna. I don't need to go back to God there to be with Krishna. I'm already with Krishna. Therefore, if we constantly keep ourselves in the association of Krishna Katha, we are protected. Even while rendering service, if I'm engaging some service, play a lecture, play a kirtan, speak about Krishna while doing that service. In this way, you're protected. You are with Krishna. Bhagavad Gita, being spoken by the Lord, is as good as the Lord himself. When a sincere devotee reads Bhagavad Gita, this is as good as seeing the Lord face to face in his personal presence. But this is not so for the mundane wrangler. When a sincere devotee reads Bhagavad Gita, this is as good as seeing the Lord face to face in his personal presence. Powerful. And this is not so for the mundane wrangler. The problem is in the material world, we are conditioned that what I see is not what I hear. What I hear is not what I see. Because my senses are distinct. They're isolated. They're relative. It's not the case in the spiritual world. We know how many ways can Krishna eat? How many ways can Krishna eat? Unlimited ways. How many ways can you eat? One time, one person asked Srila Prabhupada, so Swamiji, are you saying that there's only one path back to Godhead? Srila Prabhupada responded, yes, because there's only one way to eat. You can't put your food in your ears or through your nose or through your eyes or through your fingers. There's only one way to eat, right? Through your mouth. So there's only one way. Krishna Gatha, becoming Krishna conscious. There's no other way. So it's true. There's only one way. All these people that say, it doesn't matter, yata tata pata, whatever your path is, it doesn't matter. Whatever path you take, you end up in the same destination. Nonsense. That's like saying, okay, try eating through your ears, it'll give you the same goal, same objective, same destination. Nonsense. Purchase any ticket, you'll go to the same destination. Nonsense. Take any road you want, you'll get to the same destination. Nonsense. It was only Prabhupada who was able to highlight these things to us. Otherwise, we would be in the same nonsense. We would be in the same situation. I would be saying the same thing if I was with another group. It's all one, just follow your same path. It doesn't matter what your path is, all one, it's all, no. We would be rotting in the same place if it wasn't for Prabhupada. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya. The spiritual masters open our eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. Prabhupada is open our eyes to see the truth, to understand the truth, to realize the truth, and to see the truth face to face. Seeing Krishna is not some farce, it's not some hallucination. Realizing Krishna is not an hallucination. Spiritual life is not a dream and hallucination. So what a wonderful opportunity. If you're reading Bhagavad Gita, if you're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, you are directly seeing Krishna. We just have to have that faith and continue, and slowly but surely, Krishna will begin to manifest. Here's another aspect. Generally, when I'm doing an introduction on Bhagavad Gita, I have a slide. On one side, I have a stack of books, and on the other side, I have Bhagavad Gita. And then I asked the audience, what's the difference between the books on one side and the Bhagavad Gita? And they obviously give different answers. This is man-made, or this is written by, God, spoken by God, and they give different answers. And then after they all share, then I tell them, on the one side, the books that you see stacked up, they are unconscious. And on the other side, this book, Bhagavad Gita, this is fully conscious. It is alive. Looks like a book. It has a cover like a book. It has pages like a book. But it ain't a book. It is Krishna. It knows you more than you know yourself. It is Krishna. The Bhagavatam is Krishna. The Bhagavad Gita is Krishna. The holy name is Krishna. And because the holy name, because the Bhagavad Gita, because the Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna, Chaitanya Chatamrita is Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, and on different. And because these scriptures is Krishna, and Krishna is fully conscious, the Bhagavad Gita knows what you're doing. When I speak to the general populace and I present meditation, I present what I call reciprocal meditation. See, most people are interested in meditation, so they'll put a candle and they'll put some object, or or like silent meditation, right? Just think of nothing, or try to focus on your breathing, etc. Different people have different forms of meditation. So, right, does not matter what form of meditation you have, it is not reciprocal. If I put a candle and I meditate on that candle, I can meditate on that candle till doomsday. And that candle has no interaction, has no clue about me focusing on the candle. That candle is unconscious. So it's only me who's putting all my focus, my energy, my thoughts, my everything on that candle. And that candle can do nothing. That's the form of meditation everybody is focusing on. What is our form of meditation? We're focusing on the holy name of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now, this form of meditation is reciprocal, meaning I am chanting and thinking of the holy name, and the holy name knows, acknowledges, reciprocates 100% to my focus. It knows everything I'm doing. This is powerful. This is powerful. It's no more static. It's no more one directional. There is reciprocation. There is communication. There is a two-way exchange. This is why this form of meditation is the best. And this is what Prabhupada has given us. So, how wonderful it becomes when this statement of Prabhupada, Bhagavad Gita, when a sincere devotee reads Bhagavad Gita, this is as good as seeing the Lord face to face in his personal presence. As you continue, this becomes the reality. And when this becomes a reality, you just become more inspired. You just become more in love with Bhagavad Gita. You just want to read more. You just want to associate more. And it never ends. That's another beautiful thing. Somebody can study a candle. They can meditate on the candle for 100 years. And they can know that candle left, right, up, down, top, bottom. They can know everything about the candle because they focus on the candle for so long, it's like ingrained in their brain. And they'll get bored. You can read and read and read and read Bhagavad Gita for eternity. And you will see Krishna face to face for eternity. And Anandam Burdi Vardhanam. At every moment, the taste will be ever fresh. And not only ever fresh, increasingly ever fresh. Digest that. Where are you going to find a process like that? Mhm. A process that you can engage in that never gets bored. You never get bored. You never tire. And it just increases in pleasure more and more and more and more and more. And there's no side effects. There's only benefit, 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 spiritually and materially. And to top it all, it's free. It's free. We don't charge you. Uh, I could have charged you for the session, but Prabhupada didn't charge me, so I'm not going to charge you. Prabhupada is giving us free association. So this is amazing thing. And still, we're so dull-headed. We're so lazy. All the potencies of the Lord are there when one reads Bhagavad Gita, provided he is read in the way recommended in the Gita by the Lord himself. There must be a catch, Prabhupada. No, there's no catch. There's no catch. That's the beauty part. There is no catch. If somebody had to analyze what Prabhupada has given, the value that he has given, the value that he adds to your life, somebody would say, but hold on, like, he's not even charging. How much, it's like for somebody to write this purport, it takes focus, it takes energy, it takes realization, it takes depth. Say Prabhupada's business was to make money, he could have just summarized it and gone, done, given him, pay, thank you very much, pocket the money and go. There is no catch. He's interested in giving people the real value of connecting them back to Krishna, God consciousness. So all the potencies of the Lord are there when one reads Bhagavad Gita. Now, this can go into a different tangent. If we start analyzing all of Krishna's potencies and what Krishna can do, all that is there in Bhagavad Gita, in Srimad Bhagavatam. It's mind-boggling. We're looking for all material opulences. We're looking for peace. We're looking for prosperity. We're looking for everything in perfection. It's not wrong to look, but don't look in the wrong places for the right things. Look in the right place for the right things. And guess what? We got the right things. We got the right place. Prabhupada's books. That's the right place. And if you just delve into that, if you delve into those books, it opens up more than what you actually looking for. This is again Prabhupada's mercy. You want happiness? Okay, no problem. I'll give you happiness and more. You want peace? No problem. I'll give you peace and more. Whatever you're looking for. You want opulence? No problem. I'll give you opulence and more. So we have to realize what we have been given and then share with others. One cannot foolishly manufacture an interpretation of Bhagavad Gita and still bring about transcendental benefit. This is why people have failed. When Prabhupada went to America, There were many hundred versions of Bhagavad Gita. Not one made a devotee. Not one of Krishna. And then one old lady, she asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, which Bhagavad Gita should I read? Prabhupada started to cry. Because he could not recommend sincerely, yeah, read this one, is good. Even Prabhupada did not have a Bhagavad Gita. He was using Dr. Ramakrishna's Bhagavad Gita. Then every time Prabhupada had to challenge every single statement that he was presenting. This is nonsense. This is not, it was impersonal interpretation. And then when Prabhupada finished his transcription, his Bhagavad Gita, nobody wanted to print. Why? Because every page is Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Everything is Krishna, everything is Krishna. It's like, I don't want everything that's Krishna. I want something sense gratification. It's not going to make money. Of course, it's not going to make money. It's going to make devotees. So nobody wanted to print. Because why? The intention is wrong. Prabhupada's intention was aligned to Krishna. Then one day Prabhupada calls Brahmananda, Prabhu. In fact, Brahmananda, they made the Hare Krishna record. And Brahmananda Prabhu came to told Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada actually, someone in the Macmillan, the accountant in Macmillan, somebody in Macmillan, in the admin field, he's requested a record. I'm going there to deliver the record. Prabhupada said, oh, very good, take the manuscript and tell them we have the manuscript, they must put in Bhagavad Gita. Brahmananda felt a little uneasy. It's like nobody wants to put in Bhagavad Gita. Why would they want to put in Bhagavad Gita? But anyway, most devotees had that experience. They wouldn't align to what Prabhupada asked them to do, but then they'll go do it anyway because they know Prabhupada said. So Ramananda goes, he gives the record and they're busy chatting to the admin, the person that requested the Hare Krishna record. And then while they're busy chatting, in comes the person that's dealing with the publication in Macmillan. And the person that Brahmananda met introduces, oh, this is, this so-and-so is, he's like our publisher. He reviews, what we're printing. And Brahmananda thought this is the opportunity. So he says, oh, actually, our spiritual master has a manuscript of Bhagavad Gita to print. And Macmillan, the publisher, was there. He says, really? I'm looking for Bhagavad Gita. I have all the others. I'm just looking for Bhagavad Gita. And Brahmananda was surprised. He was so elated. So when he came back, he was so happy to tell Prabhupada the news. Prabhupada, they actually, reviewing they're happy to print the Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada very nonchalantly, yes, I know. Because he knew Krishna will make arrangements, some or other. Why wouldn't Krishna make arrangements? It's his own business. It's Krishna's business. You think Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita for just Arjuna? No, he spoke it for everybody. So if he spoke it for everybody, how are we going to get Bhagavad Gita when he spoke it 5,000 years ago? Krishna has to make a plan. He's the businessman, right? It's his business. It's his words. He has to make arrangements to make sure that his knowledge that he's sharing is going to be transmitted for the next 10,000 years. How is he going to do that? Well, he's got a plan. Just like we create a plan if we want to make money. Well, Krishna also makes a plan if he wants to attract souls. That's his business, to attract souls. So Krishna makes arrangements. Therefore, nobody can destroy what Prabhupada has built if Krishna does not desire it. They can try. Kali can try. Kali's agents can try. And they're trying very hard. Kali is not sitting on the side, twiddling his fingers. No, he is fully engaged in destroying the movement. And will he succeed? Hell no. Why? Because this is Krishna's movement. It's Lord Chaitanya's movement. It's no ordinary movement. It's no ordinary books. It's no ordinary philosophy. So, this movement will go on and benefit thousands and millions of souls. We should not lose the opportunity. Anyone who tries to squeeze some artificial meaning or interpretation from Bhagavad Gita for an ulterior motive is not Shradana Pumsa, one engaged anxiously in bona fide hearing of Krishna Katha. Such a person cannot derive any benefit from reading Bhagavad Gita, however great a scholar he may be in the estimation of laymen. That's why you give Bhagavad Gita to a professor, and the professor, he's really not interested, he'll get purified. But if somebody is presenting the Bhagavad Gita with an artificial wrong meaning in the name of Bhagavad Gita, they're not benefiting anyone. Now, this is wonderful for us. Why? Because we know no matter who writes Bhagavad Gita, just like Prabhupada, he would criticize saintly, some so-called saintly people who claim to be Krishna, claim to be God, and then they promote Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada said, why are you using Krishna's Bhagavad Gita? Can't you speak your own Bhagavad Gita? Can't you speak your own? Because you're God. Why did you speak? Don't use 5,000 years words. You speak now. But we know they will have no potency. Now, yes, they can inspire, motivate temporarily. They can give people some kicks to feel elated, to feel happy, or to help people at least take step one, like, follow cleanliness, austerity, no meat eating, etc. They can help people. But we're not just talking about helping people with stage one, step one. We're talking about helping people go back to Godhead. And that, if you are not aligned to the disciplic succession, you're not aligned to Krishna's desire, Krishna's meaning, then whatever you present will be coming to a dead end eventually, sooner or later. And from that dead end, they will have to now become devotees of Krishna, get Prabhupada's books to take them further. One devotee, she went to Sai Baba. And then she asked Sai Baba, I want to learn more about bhakti. And Sai Baba told her, well, you came to the wrong place. If you want to learn more about bhakti, you need to go to Hare Krishna. So that's how she joined the Hare Krishna movement. Even Bhakti Prayat Bhagat Maharaj, he had joined Divine Life. And, regularly he was attending, and then his questions started focusing on, Krishna and all about Krishna. And the head of the Divine Life in Durban at that time, he said, your questions, they're not relevant for our movement. Your questions can only be answered by the Hare Krishnas. You go there. So that's where he was directed. So we should be proud, happy that what we have come in contact with is glorious, is wonderful, is the ultimate. There is nothing higher. How can there be something higher than what Lord Chaitanya has given? Please tell me. There cannot be. Lord Chaitanya is the highest manifestation of divine love. There is nothing higher than the rasa, than the relationship that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to share. So therefore, when we tell people we have the highest knowledge, we're not lying. We're not sugarcoating just to sell something. It's a fact. The Shraddha or faithful devotee can actually derive all the benefits of Bhagavad Gita because by the omnipotency of the Lord, he achieves the transcendental bliss which vanquishes attachment and nullifies all concomitant material miseries. We just have to be faithful and we will derive all the benefits by Krishna's mercy, by Prabhupada's mercy. It's there, it's waiting. That's why Prabhupada says, don't blame me. Everything you need is in my books. He wasn't lying. How can everything be in his books? Because his books are not ordinary. His books are Krishna's appearance in our life. So we need to spend more time with Krishna in the form of books. Why? Because this knowledge directs, knowledge guides, knowledge inspires, knowledge motivates, knowledge empowers, knowledge protects, knowledge liberates, and the knowledge of Krishna reveals, purifies everything we need. It purifies us and it reveals everything we need. Only the devotee, by his factual experience, can understand the import of this verse spoken by Vidura. Only the devotee, by his factual experience, can understand the import of this verse spoken by Vidura. Prabhupada is presenting the challenge right in front of you. Are you going to be the devotee? Or are you just going to, carry on lethargically? You have a goal, you have an unlimited gold mine in your hands. A gold mine of perfection, a gold mine of realization, a gold mine of everything that anyone would ever dream of. You have it in your hands. You have it in your shelf. So are we going to let that opportunity go? Or are we going to take the challenge? I want to be the devotee. I want to be this devotee who actually gets factual realization, factual experience of what Prabhupada is saying. And yes, I don't know the timeline. I don't know how long it'll take. Why you don't know how long it'll take? Well, we're all on different levels and different frequencies and different baggage we come with. But if we're all convinced, then Krishna can make it in one moment or 100 lifetimes. All depends on Krishna and our relationship, our sincerity. So we should take the challenge and leave it in Krishna's hands. When Krishna would give us this factual experience, because as I said, it's a two-way reciprocation. Madheshwara was trying to bind Krishna more and more and more and trying, and nothing was happening until Krishna said yes. So we need to endeavor and then leave the rest to Krishna. That is Krishna's reciprocation with us. That is also wonderful. Because that means Krishna is a person. He is reciprocating with us like a person, and each person is individual. Therefore, his reciprocation is individual for each individual person. The pure devotee of the Lord enjoys life by constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord by hearing Krishna Katha. How wonderful. Such a powerful purpose. The pure devotee of the Lord enjoys life by constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord by hearing Krishna Katha. Sometimes you speak of devotee and devotee says, yeah, you need to give up this, give up this, give up this, give up this. How are you going to enjoy? What you enjoying? This is what I'm enjoying. I enjoy a life. Krishna consciousness is full of enjoyment. Sometimes it's amazing how devotees are like so dry, hectic, dull, sluggish, not happy. It's amazing. But what we got, we should be, it's like floating in the sky. It simply means if somebody, is like, they're frowning, is like, you get his dolls, ever bet, you wind up the doll, right? Now you wind up the doll and you put it starts moving. So sometimes you see devotees, they need to be wound out. They don't have life. Why they don't have life? Because they're not connected to the power source. How they're not connected to the power source? They're not sufficiently reading. It's not dry and it's not armchair. For such a devotee, there is no such thing as material existence. And the much advertised bliss of Brahmananda is like a fig for the devotee who is in the midst of the transcendental ocean of bliss. Now, the bliss of Brahmananda is an ocean, unlimited ocean, when you compare it to the bliss of material life and the pleasures in material life, of which sex life is the greatest. Sex life is insignificant, completely insignificant in relation to Brahmananda. And Brahmananda is like a fig. It's insignificant when you compare to Premananda, Krishna consciousness. This is what we have. 14. Tancho chashochan avido nushoche hare katayam vimukan agena shinoti devo nimishashtu yesham ayurvitavadagati smritanam. O sages, persons who, because of their sinful activities, are averse to the topics of transcendence and thus ignorant of the purpose of the Mahabharata Bhagavad Gita, are pitied by the pitiable. I also pity them because I see how the duration of life is spoiled by eternal time while they involve themselves in presentations of philosophical speculation, theoretical ultimate goals of life, and different models of rituals. According to the modes of material nature, there are three kinds of relationships between human beings and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those are in the mode of ignorance and passion are averse to the existence of God. Note, every single one of them are in relation to the Lord. Right? Even an atheist has a relationship with God. So therefore, there's no atheist. I normally say, if you're an atheist, you're theist. Why? Because you a theist. If you're theist, that means you believe in God. There's a relationship. But your relationship is in the mode of ignorance, averse to the existence of God, or else they formally accept the existence of God in the capacity of an order supplier. Above them are those who are in the mode of goodness. The second class of men believe the Supreme Brahman to be impersonal, and they accept the cult of bhakti, in which hearing Krishna Katha is the first item as a means and not the end. And above them are those who are pure devotees. They are situated in transcendental stage above the mode of material goodness. Such persons are decidedly convinced that the name, form, fame, qualities, etc. of the personality of Godhead are non-different from one another on the absolute plane. For them, hearing the topics of Krishna is equal to meeting with him face to face. According to this class of men who are situated in pure devotional service to the Lord, the highest goal of human life is purusharta, devotional service to the Lord, the real mission of life. So yes, those who are atheistic and averse to God, then those who take him as an order supplier, then those who take him as impersonal, and then those who take him as supreme personality of Godhead. And those who take him as the supreme personality of Godhead, they're above the mode of goodness. And such persons are decidedly convinced. So that's the next challenge. Are you decidedly convinced that the name, form, qualities, pastimes of Krishna are non-different from Krishna? Because that quality of being decidedly convinced will show your commitment, your dedication, your attention, your attachment to hearing, chanting the glories of Krishna. To the degree that you are decidedly convinced, to that degree, you will be attentive. To that degree, you will be attached. To that degree, you will focus. And this ultimately means that I'll hear the glories of the topics of Krishna. I will be meeting Krishna face to face. And this is the real mission of life. The impersonalists, because they engage in mental speculation and have no faith in the personality of God, have no business hearing the topics of Krishna. They have no business. They're not interested. What am I going to hear? God is impersonal. It's all one. It's all nothing. And it's all one and it's all nothing. There is nothing to hear about God. Therefore, it's dry. Such persons are pitiable for the first class pure devotees of the Lord. The pitiable impersonalists pity those who are influenced by the mode of ignorance and passion, but the pure devotees of the Lord take pity on them both, because both waste their most valuable time in the human form of life in false pursuits, namely sense enjoyment and mental speculative presentations of different theories and goals of life. And this, dear devotees, is why Srila Prabhupada, one of the reasons why Srila Prabhupada sacrificed so much, sacrificed his time, sacrificed his health, sacrificed so much blood, tears, and sweat to give us Krishna consciousness. Because he did not want us to waste our time in false pursuits, sense enjoyment, mental speculation. Prabhupada's compassion drove him to sacrifice everything to give us what we have. We need to be grateful. We need to be more than grateful. We need to accept what he has given and reciprocate with what he has given. 15. Tad asya kosharavan sar madhu dhatur hare katam eva kata shusharam udritya pushpebhya ivarta pando Shivaya na kirtanyatir takirte. O Maitreya, O friend of the distress, the glories of the Supreme Lord can alone do good for people all over the world. Therefore, just as bees collect honey from flowers, kindly describe the essence of all topics, the topics of the Lord. There are many topics for different persons in different modes of material nature, but the essential topics are those in relationship with the Supreme Lord. Unfortunately, materially affected conditioned souls are all more or less averse to the topics of the Supreme Lord, because some of them do not believe in the existence of God, and some of them believe only in the personal feature of the Lord. In both cases, there is nothing for them to say of God. Both the non-believers and the impersonals deny the essence of all topics. Therefore, they engage in topics of relativity in various ways, either in sense gratification or in mental speculation. For pure devotees like Vidura, the topics of both the mundaners and the mental speculators are useless in all respects. Thus, Vidura requests Maitreya to talk of the essence only, talks of Krishna and nothing else. If you take every single book that Prabhupada has written, every single Bhaktivedanta purport, every single letter, every single lecture, every single sentence, Prabhupada has followed in the footsteps of great souls, of pure devotees. And that is, they only talk of the essence only. That means talks of Krishna and nothing else. Everything is connected. Everything is linked to Krishna. And only the pure devotees can do this. Others are barred due to their own understanding and perception of God. And therefore, they themselves are sabotaging their own life, that they cannot access higher dimensions. 16. Savishva Janma Stitisam Yamarte Kritavatara Pragrihita Shakti Chakara Karmanya Tipurushani Yani Swarakirtayaitaniman Mayam. Kindly chant all those superhuman transcendental activities of the supreme control that the personality of Godhead were accepted incarnations fully equipped with all potencies for the full manifestation and maintenance of the cosmic creation. Vidura was undoubtedly very eager to hear about Lord Krishna in particular, but he was overwhelmed because Lord Krishna had just passed away from the visible world. He therefore wanted to hear about him in his Purusha incarnations, which he manifests with full potencies for the creation and maintenance of the cosmic world. The activities of the Purusha incarnations are but an expansion of the activities of the Lord. This hint was given by Vidura to Maitreya because Maitreya could not decide which part of the activities of Lord Krishna should be chanted, because it's such a vast subject. So Maitreya didn't know what should I speak about. It's like there's so many things to speak about. And Vidura was giving Maitreya Muni some hints. Okay, speak about the Purusha avatars. Start there. 17. Shri Shuko Vacha Saevam Bhagavan Prishta Shatrako Sharava Muni Pumsam Nihishreya Sartena Tam Aha Bahumanayam. Sukadeva Goswami said, the great sage Maitreya Muni, after honoring Vidura very greatly, began to speak. And at Vidura's request, for the greatest welfare of all people. The great sage Maitreya Muni is described here as Bhagavan because he surpassed all ordinary human beings in learning and experience. Thus, his selection of the greatest welfare service for the world is considered authoritative. The all-inclusive welfare service for the entire human society is devotional service to the Lord. And as requested by Vidura, the sage described the same very appropriately. The all-inclusive welfare service for the entire human society is devotional service to the Lord. If you are engaged in devotional service, you are engaged in the all-inclusive welfare service for yourself. And if you share and educate others about devotional service, you are involved in the all-inclusive welfare service for the entire human society. This means every benefit that you get from every other welfare activity, and even welfare activities that cannot give you the benefit, you get it from devotional service. And there are some welfare activities that are sectarian, that are for certain races, that are limited. Devotional service to the Lord is all-inclusive welfare service for the entire human society. It's the best, it's the most powerful, it's the most inclusive, it's the most complete, it's the most beautiful, it's the most blissful, it's eternal. This is what Srila Prabhupada gave us. 18. Maitro Vacha Sadhu Prishtam Tvaya Sadho Lokan Sadva Anugranata Kirtim Vitavata Loke Atmano Adoksha Jatmana. Sri Maitreya said, O Vidura, all glories unto you. You have inquired from me of the greatest of all goodness, and thus you have shown your mercy both to the world and to me, because your mind is always absorbed in thoughts of transcendence. Maitreya Muni, who was experienced in the science of transcendence, could understand that Vidura's mind was fully absorbed in transcendence. Adokshaja means that which transcends the limits of sense perception or sensuous experience. The Lord is transcendental to our sense experience, but he reveals himself to the sincere devotee. Because Vidura was always absorbed in the thought of the Lord, Maitreya could estimate Vidura's transcendental value. He appreciated the valuable inquiry of Vidura and thus thanked him with great honor. So naturally, Maitreya Muni, being a great devotee also, he could appreciate the response, the request. Just like when the Yamadutas, when they went to Yamaraj, and they complained to Yamaraj, we went to take a Jamil and we got stopped by these three or four, beautiful personalities. Like who's more powerful than you? They stopped us. And Yamaraj was so happy that his servants have inquired about this, because now Yamaraj was able to have Krishna Katha. Sukadev Goswami was very happy with Maharaj Parikshit's inquiries. Sudha Goswami, Shonaka Rishi, all those sages that were inquiring from Sudha Goswami, Sudha Goswami was also very happy. Why? Because they have an opportunity to speak about Krishna. One sannyasi, he said, questions about Krishna are like sweet balls for the sannyasi. Why? Because it gives them an opportunity to speak more about Krishna. And here Prabhupada is saying, Adokshaja means that which transcends the limits of sense perception and sensory experience. You cannot experience Krishna with your limited senses. Yet the knowledge that we got is leveraged by limited senses to go beyond the experience of mundane limitation. In one lecture, Prabhupada defines this adokshaja in a different way. A and sha. So in Sanskrit, here the word adokshaja means beyond sense perception. Krishna and the glories of Krishna is beyond our mundane senses. We cannot perceive Krishna with our mundane senses. So in another lecture, Prabhupada defines adokshaja as a and ksha. So a and sha, a and ksha. A is a, and ksha or ksha, aksha is Z in Sanskrit. So the alphabet A to Z. A to Z is all the alphabets. So in Sanskrit, A, and aksha, sha is Z. So that means everything that is between A and Z, and the combination of A and Z means all the words, all the sentences, all the knowledge, all the books, everything that's created from this A to Z is J, is born. And everything between A to Z that is born, J, is adoksha, is daksha, is brought down, is subdued. It's not sufficient for realizing Krishna. Yet we see Srila Prabhupada has taken the same aksha between A and Z, all the alphabets that make up the different words, put together with the knowledge coming in disciplic succession in the form of his Bhaktivedanta purports to then liberate us beyond that which is born and dies. Therefore, Prabhupada's Bhaktivedanta purports is the greatest gift to humanity. "19. Naitachitram twayi shattar badaraya naviryaje grihito nanya bhavena yat tvaya hari ishwara." O Vidura, it is not at all wonderful that you have so accepted the Lord without deviation of thought, for you were born from the semen of Vyasadeva. The value of great parentage and noble birth is evaluated here in connection with the birth of Vidura. The culture of a human being begins when the father invests his semen in the womb of the mother. According to his status of work, a living entity is placed in a particular father's semen. And because Vidura was not an ordinary living entity, he was given a chance to be born from the semen of Vyasa. The birth of a human being is a great science, and therefore reformation of the act of impregnation according to the Vedic rituals called Garbhadana Samskar is very important for generating good population. The problem is not to check the growth of population, but to generate good population on the level of Vidura, Vyasa, and Maitra. There is no need to check the growth of population if children are born as human beings with all precautions regarding their birth. So-called birth control is not only vicious, but also useless. Yes. Prabhupada would say, you can have hundreds of children, but don't have cats and dogs. 20. Mandavya sapada bhagavan praja samyamano yama pratur kshetra bhujesyayam jata satyavati sutat. I know that you are now Vidura due to the cursing of Mandavya Muni, and that formerly you were King Yamaraj, the great controller of living entities after their death. You were begotten by the son of Satyavati Vyasadeva in the, in the kept wife of his brother. Mandavya Muni was a great sage, Bhagavatam 1.13.1, and Vidura was formerly the controller of Yamaraj, formerly the controller, Yamaraj, who takes charge of the living entities after death. Birth, maintenance, and death are three conditional states of living entities who are within the material world. As the appointed controller after death, Yamaraj once tried Mandavya Muni for his childhood profligacy and ordered him to be pierced with a lance. Mandavya became angry at Yamaraj for awarding him undue punishment, cursed him to become a Sudra, member of the less intelligent laborer class. Thus, Yamaraj took birth in the womb of the kept wife of Vichitravirya from the semen of Vichitravirya's brother Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva is son of Satyavati by the great sage Parasar, and Vichitravirya is the son of the same Satyavati by the great king Santanu, the father of Bhishmadev. This mysterious history of Vidura was known to Maitra Muni because he happened to be a contemporary friend of Vyasadev's. In spite of Vidura's birth from the womb of a kept wife, because he had otherwise high parentage and great connection, he inherited the high talent of becoming a great devotee, highest talent of becoming a great devotee of the Lord. To take birth in such a great family is understood to be an advantage, for attaining devotional life. Vidura was given this chance due to his previous greatness. So Mandavya Muni, when he was a child, he pierced an ant, and because of that, then Yamaraj, when he went to Yamaraj, Yamaraj was going to pierce a lance as punishment, and Mandavya Muni said, "No, I was a child, and a child is innocent. A child is unaware. So how can you just give punishment like I curse you for administering incorrectly?" And you become a Sudra. So then he became a Sudra. And this is how Krishna's plan. Yamaraj, he was bored. No Krishna Kataya. Everybody comes here because of sin. I want to speak about Krishna. I want to hear about Krishna. So Krishna made an arrangement. No problem. You come as Vidura. Next time when I'm coming as Krishna, you come as Vidura. So in this way, Krishna looks after his associates. 21. Bhavan Bhagavato Nityam Samata Sanugasyaha Yasya Gnanopadeshya Padeshaya Madishad Bhagavan Vrajan. Your good self is one of the eternal associates of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for whose sake the Lord, while going back to his abode, left instructions with me. Yamaraj, the great controller of life after death, decides the living entities' destinies in their next lives. He is surely among the most confidential representatives of the Lord. Such confidential posts are offered to great devotees of the Lord who are as good as his eternal associates in the spiritual sky. And because Vidura happened to be among them, the Lord, while returning to Vaikuntha, left instructions for Vidura with Maitra Muni. Generally, the eternal associates of the Lord in the spiritual sky do not come to the material world. Sometimes they come, however, by the order of the Lord, not to hold any administrative post, but to associate with the Lord in person or to propagate the message of God in human society. Such empowered representatives are called Shaktivesh avatars, or incarnations invested with transcendental power of attorney. And thus ends our section for today. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Go Pramanande Hari Hari Bol. Are there any questions or comments anyone has? Amavati Nalini Kanta says, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Krishna Katha and stunning art. Thank you very much, Nishnu Prabhu Madhamadri. Only a pleasure to be of some service. Ivan says, I like the idea of rendering the service to strengthen our rasa through Krishna Katha. How does the motive and implementation affect the outcome of these services. Yes. Your motive and well, firstly, your motive is key. According to your motive, for example, let's take that example of the candle. Let's say I'm meditating on the candle because I want to become a candle. I want to design and I want to create a candle factory. So therefore, I'm meditating on the candle. The candle has no clue, and therefore my motive and my implementation is all one way. Whereas if I meditate on Krishna, my motive and my implementation is not static. The reciprocation will be based on the motivation and my implementation. So therefore, we want to be cautious and aware and conscious of our motive and our implementation. Krishna is going to reciprocate with your effort. Krishna is going to reciprocate with your intention. Krishna is going to reciprocate with your motive. So somebody may not be able to, according to circumstances, put more effort than somebody else, but their motive could be more pure than somebody else. And Krishna would reciprocate like that. They would even get greater reciprocation than somebody who puts far more effort with the wrong motive. So yes, motive is key. Effort and implementation is also key. So what's the best process? Follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions. Follow Srila Prabhupada's guidance. That's why Prabhupada's Bhaktivedanta purports are giving us what motive we should have, how we should implement. And by getting guidance from spiritual teachers coming in line with Srila Prabhupada, understanding Prabhupada's mood and mission, and have studied Prabhupada's instructions, they're able to then also guide similarly. Right, let's see. Shamananda Bros, thanks, Prabhu and Madhuri, for nice class, Hare Krishna. Unlike Vidura, we have to force ourselves to keep hearing and remembering Krishna, praying to develop some taste to hear more and more. Yes? Unfortunately, yes. That's why in our case, in the beginning, it needs to be forced. Bhakti needs to be forced because we don't have a taste. We may be lazy. We get distracted. So many things to, so many things to do in life. So, and that's why we have a regulation, right? Every Saturday. I mean, this Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. It should be 24 hours a day. But I can't do 24 hours a day. Therefore, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, in commenting to Nasta Prayashu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, he says Nitya means regularly, daily. So proper instituted daily Bhagavatam class, daily Bhagavad Gita class. Even that becomes a challenge if you're working, householder, work, hours, chanting, so many other things, children, family duties. That's the glory and the benefit of those who are full-time. Yet in many cases, those who are full-time don't take advantage of that benefit. So you can't do it daily. Okay, let's do it once a week. Better than nothing. Not the best, but better than nothing. And slowly, by that regulation, we start developing a taste. And then during the week, you're driving, just like I drive. If I have to go to work, it's like, let's say, I spend maybe say 1 hour on the road, going and coming 1 hour. So then what I do? Lecture, hearing, or chanting, kirtan. So in that way, more and more, hearing, that purifies. That starts giving us a taste. Then you don't need to be forced. But you can never come to the stage of not being forced, having a taste, if you don't sufficiently hear. Most people are attracted to prasad. Therefore, if you have a program, you will see most people come prasadam time. Then the next majority is kirtan time. And the least is lecture time. And even then, they're not on time. So they come halfway through the lecture. So that's supposed to be the most important. I remember in Mildersdorf, yes, that was it's like you could see, right? Very few in the beginning, then okay, a little few people coming, then you get more people in kirtan, then everybody's there for prasad, right? Nobody misses the prasad. So then what they did, they turned the program around. Prasad first, by the time everybody comes, okay, now you're going to have a class, you're going to sit and hear. Sometimes you have to force them. So yes, we have to try to hear. And if we keep hearing, we'll develop a taste on the way. Ivan, thank you for this for service. May you be blessed with Krishna's mercy. Thank you for the blessings. Ray Prabhu, always blessed with a wonderful class. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mother Lash. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for wonderful Krishna Katha. So listening to a non-devotee speak Krishna Katha is not beneficial. But Krishna is absolute. And because speaking his name mockingly or unknowingly also gives benefit, it seems slightly contradictory. Please clear up the misunderstanding and help to correct the understanding. Yes. So again, depending on the motive, right? Prabhupada gives the example. If if you give milk to a snake, it increases its poison, and the milk also becomes poisonous by contact with the snake. So when somebody has a snake-like mentality, envious of Krishna, and they speaking Krishna Katha, it's not Krishna Katha that's coming out. It's poison that's coming out. It sounds like Krishna, but it's poison. When a shopkeeper says, Haribol, 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 Prabhu, come, Haribol. He's chanting Krishna's names, but his intention is, oh, yeah, dollars, come, business, dollars. So that's the one situation. There may be innocent people. There may be pious sages who are not envious of Krishna. They're not Gaudiya Vaishnavas, but they're not envious of Krishna. And they're speaking of Krishna. That is beneficial because there's no envy. Right? They may have different rasa, they may have a different relationship with Krishna. Somebody, just like a Christian pastor, he has no clue of the 5 relationships with Krishna. That's beyond his understanding. He never heard it. So he's going to speak about, from the Bible. That's beneficial. There's no harm. It's about Krishna. It's connected. It'll inspire us to hear that. But somebody who is envious of Krishna, like the Mayavadis, that is poisonous. That is dangerous. And even if a Mayavadi chants Krishna's names, that is Mayavadi, that is aparadi, that is dangerous, that is detrimental to your spiritual practice. So therefore, we should be careful of the Mayavadis. And that's why when somebody is speaking, all you have to ask him is, who's God? Who's your spiritual master? And then you'll see what they tell you. I'm God. As soon as somebody says, I'm God, how is he going to glorify Krishna? He's thinking he's Krishna. He's completely concocted. Yeah, that poison. Then you just run away. But if you ask somebody, who's God? Oh yeah, Ram is God, Narayan is God, Krishna is God. They're right. These are all personality of God. They may not know the Gaudiya Vaishnav truth, but they're correct. And he'll say, we're servants of God and we should serve. Or somebody will say, yes, Narayan is God, we should serve Narayan. So then, no harm. Right. Ivan says, if it's done with sincerity and love, it should be acceptable. If with sincerity and love I give you poison, are you going to accept? A thief. How sincere is a thief to steal your money? Huh? Very sincere. Is that acceptable? No. Something done with sincerity does not imply beneficial. Sincerity means I truly want to do this. Well, a thief truly wants to steal your money. Are you going to allow it? No. So yeah, we should not be fooled. I'll give an example. We went, early days of Krishna consciousness, we went for a program in Indonesia. One so-called saintly person came. I sat for the talk, cracked a lot of jokes, spoke a lot of things. So on a piece of paper, I wrote 2 questions, or 3 questions. It was 3. 1, who is God? 2, who's your spiritual master? And 3, which disciplic succession you come from? And I sent it. So he got the paper. Who is God? Everything is God. Everyone is God. Even this microphone is God. And everybody accepted that. And I thought, what a fool. What a fool. Like, even a microphone is God. Are you crazy? But everybody else thought it was a brilliant answer. And here I was thinking, what a fool. But how come I was thinking he's a fool? Not because I was intelligent. It's because I read Prabhupada's books. And Prabhupada guided us to understand. Okay, so he failed the first question. Second question, he reads, who's your spiritual master? Who's your guru? I don't need a guru. Why you need a guru? You don't need a guru. All the books are available. You just read. What's this guru business? Don't need a guru. And everybody's, blah, blah, blah. Not that fool. Even Krishna says, you need a guru. In the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So, this is a fool. Now, if he doesn't need a guru, I just read, he said, I just read all the books and I know everything. Oh, serious, huh? So then obviously the next question obviously is now, is irrelevant, right? Because he's his own self-guru. Which discipline? So what discipline? You don't need discipline succession. And yet, he was considered in the eyes of the public a saintly person. Somebody who was sincere, somebody who loved to do what he's doing. Would our acharyas, would Srila Prabhupada accept him as a bona fide representative of the Supreme Lord? No. Because he's concocted his own philosophy. So therefore, if it's done with sincerity and love, don't just blindly accept. Therefore, we test. We test Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. This is a 3 accountability test. Anything that is shared, that is presented, are you validating with Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra? According to Shastra, he was concocting. He's bogus. Right. Is it true if Krishna is in everyone and everyone is Krishna? Is it true if Krishna is in everyone and everyone is in Krishna? So Krishna is in everyone as the super soul, and in between every atom, Krishna is there as Paramatma. So in that sense, Krishna is in everyone and Krishna is in everything. Now, when we talk about everyone is in Krishna, we have to then understand that statement that nothing exists outside Krishna. So therefore, everything is in Krishna in terms of Krishna's energies. Everyone is in Krishna's energy. Everyone is under Krishna's energy, whether material or spiritual. Everyone is under Krishna's energy, Krishna's control. Therefore, everyone is in Krishna in that sense. It's not an impersonal understanding that because everyone is in Krishna and Krishna is in everyone, everything is one. Everything is impersonal. No, that's concoction. Because there is consciousness in the spiritual reality. So because everything is spiritually conscious and Krishna is the supreme consciousness, then he becomes the substratum. He becomes the foundation, the base where everyone is expanding from and everybody is sustained by. Okay, so yes, there is a difference. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about this point. Krishna says, I am in everything and everything is not in me. So everything is not really in Krishna. Everything is controlled by Krishna. Everything is in Krishna's energies, or everything is made up of Krishna. Here's another way to see it. If you take everything and everyone, they're either made out of external energy, marginal energy, or internal energy. These three energies. And obviously these three energies can be broken down further, right? Like spiritual energy can be broken out into Ladini, Samvit, and Ladini, Samvit, Sandini. So different potencies. But all aspects that we see fall in these three categories. And all these energies, where they come from? Krishna, stay in Krishna. So this is how we understand this understanding. We are God and we're not God. Achinta Beda Beda Tattva. We need to understand it in proper perspective. All right, so we'll stop there. Thank you very much. We shall continue next week. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaracham Bhaktim ki jai, Nitai Go Pramanande Hari Hari.